Hey, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about everything crowdfunding. How do you raise money? How do you get funding? And specifically today, we want to talk about GoFundMe and how do you run a GoFundMe campaign on Instagram. So that's what we're covering in today's video, and it's coming up right after this. Okay. So how do you run a GoFundMe campaign on Instagram? Now, first of all, who the heck is this Salvador Briggman fellow who's talking about this? I got started in the industry in 2012. Really, for me, this is like a labor of love, and I'm so passionate about this. And I want to share more and more information about this because I feel like there's just not a lot of good education and resources out there for people like you. So when it comes to this, I've written a bunch of different books. I've written books, Nonprofit Crowdfunding Explained. I've written Kickstarter Launch Formula. I've written Real Estate Crowdfunding Explained. I've written Equity Crowdfunding Explained, Nonprofit Fundraising Hacks, Crowdfunding Personal Expenses, a bunch of different books in this industry. And for me, crowdfunding personal expenses, man, that was so much work where I basically went out there and I gathered all the different tactics and techniques that work when it comes to getting funding on GoFundMe and similar platforms. It actually talks about more than just GoFundMe. It's more about charity fundraising and particularly using crowdfunding for this. So this is for people that are trying to raise money when it comes to medical bills, education costs, travel costs, things like even a business, right? How do you raise money using GoFundMe for these types of causes? And that's what I cover in Crowdfunding Personal Expenses. I am actually super blown away by the nice things that people have said about that book via Amazon and via Audible. So I have an Audible version where I actually read the book to you if you kind of want that more, just going and, cleaning your room or whatever, going to work, you can listen to the Audible book that way. A lot of nice things have been said about this. So I want to talk a little bit today about Instagram, and I've been getting a lot of questions like, how do you raise money on Instagram for a GoFundMe campaign? And there's kind of some differences here and kind of some confusion. So I kind of want to clear this up and kind of talk about some resources as well. So let's get into that. So first of all, I like to define terms. I like to make things very clear for people, right? So Instagram, Facebook, GoFundMe. These are all separate platforms, okay? So GoFundMe is a separate platform from Instagram, which is separate from Facebook, okay? So you might have seen, for example, Facebook fundraisers, right? And people doing fundraisers around that. That is different than GoFundMe. Same thing when it comes to seeing people raising money, for example, on Instagram or doing things like that. There are times when you will use a GoFundMe campaign and you will promote it via Instagram, but there are also many other types of platforms you can promote as well on Instagram. So I want to make that clarification clear that you can't actually use the functionality of Instagram to create a GoFundMe campaign, okay? So what you would do is, and I have a complete tutorial showing you this, walking you through step by step how to actually make a campaign on GoFundMe. It's actually very straightforward. I try to make it easy to understand. So go and watch that tutorial there. But basically, I walk you through how to do a GoFundMe campaign. So you're gonna go to GoFundMe.com, you're gonna start your campaign, put in all that information if you're doing a beneficiary, etc. All the information will come to your bank account, where you're gonna get those funds, all that kind of stuff. You do that on GoFundMe.com. Once you have that, then you can use social media tools like Instagram to be able to promote or market your GoFundMe campaign, okay? So I have a video out there on YouTube for free. You can go and check it out, showing you how to market your campaign on GoFundMe and how to do this using Instagram, how to promote your GoFundMe campaign on Instagram. Go and check out that free video where I go through exactly how to do that, my friend, as well as talking about some of those different tools out there. So for example, using Instagram stories, posts, reels, all that kind of stuff. Go and check out that video in terms of how to promote your GoFundMe campaign on Instagram. That being said, I kind of want to zoom out here, okay? So we think about Instagram, right? And that's a really important key social network, but it's really one tree. Okay, so what I want to do is kind of give you a bird's eye view of this thing. I want to zoom out from that one individual tree, and I want you to see the entire forest of opportunity that is available to you. Because I know you've been looking at those different GoFundMe campaigns, and some of them raise tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you might be wondering, how exactly do you do that? So I do talk a lot about this, of course, in the GoFundMe cash machine. Some of you might already be aware of that. I put basically all of my templates and my tools, the kind of plug and play where you can just literally copy the things and post them and send them to your friends, the scripts of what to say, the scripts of what to send, all the kinds of paint by numbers formula that goes into an effective campaign. It's really an advanced system, the GoFundMe cash machine, and also a lot of the tactics that go into that actually work to drive funding when it comes to a GoFundMe campaign. So you can check that out. And I also have a free course if you're not interested in really delving deep into this. I do have a free course as well that I will link up down below, walking you through step-by-step how to do a GoFundMe campaign. So that being said, kind of what I want to tease or what I want to share with you right now is, again, that bird's eye view, which I talk about and which I kind of go more in-depth, nitty-gritty and nuts and bolts fashion with the GoFundMe cash machine. So first of all, let's think about this a little bit differently. The real question is not, how do I market my campaign on Instagram? How do I promote my campaign on Instagram, right? Or how to even start a GoFundMe on Instagram? That's not the real question. The real question is, how do you get a stranger who has never met you before to give money or to donate to your GoFundMe campaign? That is the question, right? And the reason why that's the question is that you have people in your social network who are going to support it, who are going to help you, who might share. You're part of church groups, you're part of different organizations that are also going to care and going to help because of you, because of who you are. But the real trick, the real massive success that you see out there comes from getting strangers to not only see what you're doing, to give attention, but to care, okay? And there is a formula that you will go through in order to get them to care. So I'll just kind of like do a very high level version of this formula right now, which is you're first gonna wanna be aware that in order for people to give money or to donate, they need to care. They need to feel a sense of distress about what is happening, and they need to feel that by giving money or by donating, that they are actually having an effect on that individual's life. So let's kind of really quickly talk about that. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. Getting them to care, right? One of the most important things. Where does that come from? That comes from your story, okay? Because your story is what's gonna allow another person to empathize, right? Empathy is, actually based in, neuroscience. People feel empathy, mirror neurons, with what other people are feeling. But if you're through a computer screen or you're through a phone, how the heck are they gonna feel empathy? You do that through storytelling, okay? So the way that you can get people to care is that you need a story which outlines your need, which outlines what is going to happen when it comes to if you don't have this thing happening, if you don't have any kind of help, what's going to happen when it comes to if you do get the help, how you're going to use it. And you really need to provide a little bit of context and tell a story behind your actual GoFundMe campaign. What you're going to do is you're going to probably write this out. You're going to have this big story, right? This monstrous story. And you then kind of want to take that, chop it up, and disseminate it on all these different social media platforms and all these different marketing channels. I call this your kind of your network, right? So you might have Instagram, you might have Facebook, you might also have email marketing, text message, local events, like all that kind of stuff. You want to take this story, you want to chop it up, and you want to disseminate it on all these different little platforms. And it might be different content forms as well. So like Instagram stories versus Instagram posts, etc. Or if you have like a YouTube channel or a podcast, you're going to be disseminating this grand story on all these different little platforms. And the reason why you want to do this is that, have you ever noticed, let's say anyone in the influence field, anyone who's a marketer, anyone who's a salesperson, anyone who's trying to influence people, what do? Well, a couple of things. One, they tell stories, right? You already know that. Number two, repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. It's all about repetition. People need to hear things multiple times. It needs to sink into their brain. It needs to etch it almost, so that they are going through their day, they have so many different things that are on their mind, that they eventually start to care. They start to get their attention. Not everyone's gonna give you their attention the first time that they see a message from you. So repetition is so important when it comes to running a campaign. And the way you do this without getting boring or someone just being like, hey, stop promoting your campaign, is you need to have different flavors of that story, different things you're focusing on in many different mediums. And you notice that politicians will do this. You'll notice that salespeople do this. You notice that marketers will do this, is that they take that big story, they chop it up, and they have different ways of telling that in these different mediums. And what that does is that as you push out these communications, right? You're pushing them out on these different networks, almost like into the universe, if you want to think of it that way. You then begin to get people's attention, and slowly you start to get their interest as well. So they actually start to begin to care and ask questions like, how could I get involved? How could I help? That is horrible. Like, what can we do? Can I share this story in some ways, right? Share, a very key word. Think about the stories that have gone viral, my friends. The stories on the news, like for example, of a homeless man, right? Who finds a bag of money and then actually turns it in. And then that news story goes viral. What is going viral? The story, right? The story is going viral because of how it makes people feel. And then what ends up happening is he gets a river of funding and raising 100K, right, on GoFundMe because people want to help. They see that and they want to help. They want to be a part of the story in some way. So you're kind of doing this on a microcosm scale. If you're running a really big campaign, obviously it's much more coordinated, but you're using the story, and that story is really what becomes shareable. It's, if you get into a news outlet, it becomes really shareable, right? We talk about that as well. But you know, there are a lot of different ways you can disseminate this story, but that's what you're doing, is you're pushing out these communications, you're getting interest, and all of a sudden you're gonna notice that the visits to your campaign page start going through the roof. And that's because you're putting these people, you know, the people that are interested, that you're trying to get to donate or to become a part, you're putting them through this system where you're getting their interest, you're then moving them a layer deeper, you're getting them to care, and you're showing them that by becoming a part of this, that they're going to have some kind of an impact or some kind of an end result, which leads to what we marketers call a conversion, which is when you get all this interest on your campaign, all these eyeballs on your campaign, they actually take action and they donate to your campaign. If you mess up any little part of the system that I outlined, not gonna work. And I'll tell you exactly why. You might get a lot of people coming to the page, but they don't donate, right? Or you're pushing out the communications, you're like, why does no one care, right? You haven't gotten their interest first. You haven't done any kind of storytelling. So this is really like the formula behind, from a high level view, getting people to care and to donate to your campaign. And you're using Instagram as one channel, one medium to do that, but there are a lot more out there. So if you kind of like the way that I break this down or try to explain this, give me a thumbs up so that I know that you enjoy this type of content. Leave a comment down below if you do like this so I can put out more content like this, and also subscribe if you want notifications of that new content. But that being said, really great, easy place to start. Go and check out my free video on how to promote your campaign on Instagram. Go and check out my tutorial of GoFundMe to get your campaign up and running. I also got that book, Crowdfunding Personal Expenses. If you want to delve deeper, I have the free course. I also have the GoFundMe cash machine. I try to really hold your hand every step of the way with this because I know how important that this is to you, as well as likely you have people around you who want you to do this campaign or believe that this is something that could be successful. So make sure that you take action. My name is Salvador Briggman. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.